Welcome to the Sports Arena, your front row ticket to the best in sports talk and entertainment. Great analysis, top-name guests, and news you can use from the sports landscape. So, take your seats, sit back, and relax, as you are now in the Sports Arena.
You know what you're capable of. Fix it.
And here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Wins. I'm like, all right, let's go. We get losses. I'm like, I need a minute. Let me collect myself.
Good afternoon. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in on all of our live streams. We are so appreciative that you are here at the Sports Arena. It is a Monday night segment to break down week 3, and we have a lot of sports to get to. I'm going to go ahead and bring in our panel. We have Michael Caratanudo with Believe in the Pac-12 college basketball joining us today out of Arizona. How you doing today, Mike?
Oh, well, I'm doing okay. I mean, the Cowboys lost. And we'll talk about that later.
We'll definitely be getting to that.
It was tough for us. And there's a lot of crazy college football. So whether it's because of COVID or not, it was still a very fun weekend in football, and a lot of cool things were done. So I'm doing good. How are you?
Texas State comeback during the Texas game was insane. And then FSU got stomped out. So I'm a little upset about that, but I saw it coming.
That they did. But how are you is the most important thing, Ruth. I mean, come on.
I'm doing great. I had a great weekend despite the tough losses that we faced on Sunday, but I'm doing okay. God has blessed me. But we're going to go ahead and bring in Jake Roundholt from Turning Point Podcast. How you doing today, Jake? Welcome in. It's Victory Monday for Jake.
Huh?
It's Victory Monday for Jake. He's the only
one.
Oh,
yeah. It's Victory Monday indeed. Packers are 3-0. Took down Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Twins are not playing the Yankees in the postseason to start it off, so we could play the Astros. And, hey, we got the NBA Finals coming up. So you got to love what's happening right now in the sports world. It's just every single day. And then tonight we got Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals between my Dallas Stars and your Tampa Bay Lightning. So –
yes, that should be a great game to watch. So make sure everybody is tuned into the Stanley Cup tonight. And we also have a great Monday night football game that we will also be breaking down. We have 2 MVP quarterbacks going head-to-head tonight, and it's so exciting. But let's start off with week 3 of the NFL. I want to go over to the New England Patriots. They are 3-0 after Cam Newton pulled out another win. But, Jake, I got to get your take. He didn't have, that exceptional of a game. He was 17 for 28 with 162 yards. I want to know, is this the Cam that we need to see in New England for them to have a winning season?
You're not always going to have the 2015 Cam Newton with the New England Patriots. This is a team-only football team. They're not about individual performances. They're about stretching the field, scoring the points, and playing good defense. That's what Bill Belichick has always done. Now, I give a lot of credit to Cam Newton for saying, hey, my performance was subpar. That's fine, Cam, but you still won the game 36-20. Your defense still kept the Raiders on their tiptoes. And not to mention, your running game came to life with Sony Michel, who had an unbelievable day with over 117 yards and only 9 carries. Rex Burke had 3 total touchdowns on the day. There should be nothing subpar right now about the New England Patriots. That's why they are going to be the team to beat in the AFC East if this continues up. Like I said, Cam, got to understand, love you on that team, but understand, this is not the Carolina Panthers anymore. This is Bill Belichick's team.
Right. Michael Caratanudo, I want to know your take. They're going to go face Kansas City next. Do you think Cam has what it takes? Has he proven it to you in the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, Cam definitely has what it takes. I see what Jake's saying too, but I definitely believe Cam has what it takes. It's one of those things where when you look at what the no preseason, I know I've harped on that a lot, but again, just even through week 3, a lot of the games I watched and going back and seeing how it's just sloppy. But Cam definitely has what it takes. Now, defensively, to Jake's point, yes, I 100% agree because they need to keep delivering defensively like that. But at the same time, they're going to run into issues when they see a Baltimore team or when they see Kansas City, like you said as well. But Jake, I disagree with you a little bit that the East is theirs because, look, man, the Buffalo Bills, I'm sold on the Buffalo Bills. Rex Ryan left the cabinets full. Yeah, exactly, with Josh. But Rex Ryan left the cabinets full defensively, Ruth. He may have not did all the right things offensively. And I know he brought his brother in, Jake, and I know you always got a kick out of that. But at the same time, those guys know defense. And yes, there's been a few changes on defense, but really not a ton if you look at it. And that secondary is nasty. So to me, and even if Brady was there, I mean, I told you this earlier in March, Jake, remember that I said, even if Brady was there, I was still taking the Bills to win the East this year because I love what Sean McDermott has done, and they're playing nasty defense. But I know it's kind of off point, Ruth, but I'm just saying, I think the East is the Bills to lose. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to say with that defense that the Patriots aren't going to be right there. And as Cam develops even more, especially, I mean, he's already on the same page with Edelman, Jake. And I mean, that to me is the biggest thing. Like N'Keal Harry starts to come into form like he can. It's going to be an interesting race, but I still say it's the Bills to lose.
Yeah, speaking of the Bills, they had a comeback win against the Rams. Jake, I want to know your take. Do you think the Buffalo Bills are really going to be able to take this division from Bill Belichick and the Patriots?
If they're going to do that, they have to fix what's happening on defense. I know Star Lotulelei is out right now, but that's no excuse. You can't give up over 167 yards to a team that you had 28-3 deficit at this point. You cannot do that. And then you let 29 unanswered points come back. And it's a good thing that this happened in week 3 and not week 12, because then you could have been saying that the Patriots were the ones winning the AFC East. But look, I love the Bills. Josh Allen has done incredible. I like his offseason program. Peter King had a great piece today about what Josh Allen did in the offseason. He got trained by Tony Romo and quarterback guru Jordan Palmer. Not to mention, he had numerous Zoom meetings with Brian DeBall and his quarterback coach, Ken Dorsey from the U, who has a national championship to his credit. So I love what I'm seeing out of Josh Allen. I like what I'm seeing out of Gabe Davis, the rookie out of UCF. Saw this kid at East Carolina last year fighting against them, and he looked excellent. Raw talent, needed to get used to the program, but I was interested to see if he was going to be there on Sundays. Tight end Tyler Kroft, way to come in, get 2 touchdowns off the injured Dawson Knox. That's good because now the Bills are showing we have a depth chart. We have a lot of depth on this football team. You just have to shore up that defense. Once they do that, the Bills are going to be a tough out.
And Ruth, to piggyback off that, real quick, and Jake, the thing that got me the most is that even off of he was rushed a little bit. I don't know if you saw this play, but he overthrew John Brown by like 4 yards, like 55 yards downfield. So I know you guys know the arm strength was never the issue for Josh Allen, but I'll tell you what, like they gave up. I agree with you. They shouldn't have given up the lead, Jake, but it still is the Rams. And like I said last week, it's not like Sean McVay forgot how to coach or be creative. They were bad. I know. And I laughed at it too last week, Ruth, because it's like the Rams were an afterthought in the West after the hype with the Cardinals. I mean, deservedly so. You get one of the top 3 receivers in the game, and you.
All right, Mike is out for a second. He's out with technical difficulties, but he will be back with us. So it's me and Jake. Go ahead, Jake.
Everybody needs to settle down on the LA Rams. Look, they're a nice story to start off the year, but I still do not believe that this is one of the best teams in the NFL. I actually figure that this might be a team that might finish 2nd or 3rd in the NFC West because there is just a lot of issues with them. They're still getting used to this new defense led by Brandon Staley. And then outside of Aaron Donald, can you name me somebody that can make a play? The linebackers had problems yesterday. They were not able to get a strong pass rush. Outside of Aaron Donald, that was about it. Otherwise, Josh Allen was like, okay, that's all you got? All right, bring it on. I'm going to go full on Brett Favre on you. And got 4 touchdown passes on Sean McVay. So just keep an eye on the Cardinals and the 49ers, even though they had their JV squad out there against the Giants.
Seriously.
The Rams, I'm still not buying them yet.
No, yeah, I am right there with you, Jake. I am not sold on Jared Goff, but thanks for coming back, Michael Caratanudo. We missed you so much. You came in perfect timing.
Bills fans called. Bills fans got all excited. I was saying nice things about him, and they freaked out. No, I'm just kidding. But I agree with you. The Rams, I mean, in the secondary, I don't think they have the issues. Yes, the Cardinals proved yesterday that if you start reading press clippings too early, I don't think get deep into the game, that you can have a letdown. But again, it was against Matthew Stafford. He did get Galladay back. I mean, I know fantasy-wise, I was stoked because I have Kenny Galladay and I want him on the field. But that being said, if you're the Rams, I mean, look, Brockers, I think, is getting into it, Jake, and Jalen Ramsey is Jalen Ramsey. I know they had to get rid of Marcus Peters because of the trade. And like you said before, you can't pay everybody. But I'm buying the Rams just because of the offensive creativity of Sean McVay. And Cooper Kupp hasn't even blown up yet. Robert Woods looked great. But come on, Cooper Kupp gets back going, Jake. And but I will say this, as much as it pains me, Ruth, the NFC West is the best division in football, top to bottom, and I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, excellent point. So we're going to be switching over to the NFC North with the undefeated Chicago Bears. They're 3-0.
Yeah.
Didn't even feel right coming So I got to know your take. So Matt Nagy has named Nick Foles the starting quarterback going into week 4. He came into the game after the Bears were down. And I want to know your take. Is Nick Foles the answer for the Chicago Bears? Go ahead, Jake.
For now, he is, yes. Okay, I understand they got Mitchell Trubisky, but, he's a second overall pick. They gave him an opportunity, every chance that they possibly could. But Mitchell Trubisky had one good quarter out of the last 3 games. They had no choice. They had to go to Nick Foles. This defense already gave 26 points to the Atlanta Falcons. They needed a spark, and Nick Foles was able to do that. 3 touchdown passes, 188 yards, and 1 interception. But let's remind ourselves, there's a reason why everybody calls him Foles Magic, because sometimes he just runs out of it. It becomes like a twist out of one of those Now You Can See Me movies instead of more like The Prestige. So let's just be honest here. It's good to see the Nick Foles for now, but don't be surprised if the Bears go back to Mitchell Trubisky, even though he has not looked good. They don't have anybody else, so they're going to have to just ride the train with Nick Foles until further notice.
So Mitchell Trubisky completed 59% of his passes in the first 3 weeks with 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in his first 3 appearances.
Hold on.
Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ruth, for having me on. I appreciate it. Jake, there's no way I'm going to let you speak about Nick Foles and not have something to say about this. See, I think this is coming from a place of, I think you don't want to see Nick Foles because you're a Green Bay guy, and now that Nick Foles is taking over for the Chicago Bears, I think you're a little scared right now. That's just my personal opinion. Green Bay and Chicago, as we know, probably one of the best rivalries in the world of sports.
Yep.
And we know that at times Nick Foles always plays to the level of competition. So I am just saying that I don't think Jake's coming from a place of, I think he's coming more from the heart than he is from the head. That is just my opinion on that. But I am just as shocked that Nick Foles is officially in. How quickly we went from Mitchell Trubisky bringing the team back to win week 1, having a decent game, if you will, week 2. But the second he slips, it was like, that's it, you're done. We're moving on to Nick Foles.
Yeah.
But Eric, what did I say to you and Ruth when we were on before the season started? And I said that I can't believe they named Trubisky the starter. I said to you guys, and I fully believed it, it was going to be the shortest leash ever. Now, when they got down to the Lions, I thought he was going to get benched in the fourth quarter. I thought he'd be done. He brings him back. Okay, I'm like, maybe he's got that. Maybe Nick Foles lit that fire for him. But I figured it would be the shortest leash ever, and I said week 3. But there is no way that I thought Trubisky would be benched at least until after the game. Matt Nagy's feeling the heat of his job, and yeah, Jake. Eric, everything you said, you are a genius. I have to compliment you. You know you're a genius because everything you said, I was gonna tease Jake and say, Jake, come on now. You're just talking as a Packers fan. No. Nick
Definitely
Foles,
not talking like a Packers fan. I'm actually welcoming that. I would like to welcome that because honestly, one of the best Super Bowls I ever watched was Nick Foles against Tom Brady. I mean, and also mark your calendars. In 2 weeks, we get that rematch between Tom Brady and Nick Foles on Thursday Night Football, and I am already ready and willing to watch that. So this has nothing to do with the Packers. Packers and Bears are always it's always a slobber knocker. It's always going to be that way.
That was a great segue into my next topic. So the Bucks are 2-1 after Sunday's win against the Denver Broncos, 28-10. Eric, I'm going to start with you first. Is this Brady's best appearance as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer?
No, I don't think we've seen that yet. Here's the thing about that. This team is finally getting themselves out into the rhythm and the timing and the continuity that Bruce Arians and Byron Leftwich and even Tom Brady to some extent is what they want to do. So this is not going to be the best of Tom Brady. That will come at a later date. They're starting to get their mojo out from underneath them. We just needed to see it happen, and we saw it happen. Now, listen, Brady has not played well in Mile High Stadium. A lot of quarterbacks didn't play well in Mile High Stadium. But when you're playing against Jeff Driscoll, no disrespect, but I'm sorry, you're just not on that level. And Brady has the weapons. You see how he connected not only with Mike Evans, he connected with his boy Gronk, he connected with Godwin. So, I mean, this is what we expected when it came to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks. This was not the best Brady that we've seen yet. I think it's still to come.
Jake, so I'm going to swing it back to you. Are you convinced that this is Brady's comeback year?
Brady needed this. And I understand it's against the injury-plagued Broncos, but sometimes you have to play a bad team in order to be able to move on to the next game, especially when you're going to be playing the Bears in a couple of weeks. So this was a good game for him. He only got sacked twice. He had 115.8 quarterback rating. I don't want to hear this about Gronkowski. I still don't think he's back yet, but I really do like the chemistry that he's building with Mike Evans. But now Chris Godwin is now having an MRI today to see how long he's going to be out with that hamstring injury. So it's going to be interesting to see if he starts to turn Scotty Miller into the next Julian Edelman type, or if they're going to try to be able to rely on that running game. That running game was kind of lost in neutral against the Denver Broncos. And I know it's Jeff Driscoll and some undrafted kid out of Boise State with Brett Rippon, but my goodness, they needed something like this, and they showed it off beautifully. Also, outside of Tom Brady, the Buccaneers are playing amazing defense.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like they are definitely one of the top 5 defenses in the NFL as of right now. Michael Caratinudo, I want to know your take. Tom Brady was 25 for 38 with 297 passing and 3 touchdowns with no interceptions. Finally, he had a game with no interception. Michael Caratinudo, are you sold that this is a Super Bowl contending team?
I'm sold it's a playoff team. I'm still not backing off my point just because they lost to Jake's Packers last night. That the Saints aren't gonna obviously contend for the South. I'll still go with the Saints. They get Michael Thomas back. We know what the offense is differently. But no, I mean, here's the thing. And I say this not even to take a shot at Tampa or Brady, because Eric and I have had discussions throughout the years, my disdain for him. Look, he's playing better. But to all your guys' points, I mean, Denver wasn't great. And they definitely but again, he needs to get in rhythm, and he did look that. So, like I said, the first month of the season is like preseason. So I think after next week, outside of the freak of natures that we know that are going to play tonight, like we talked about in Baltimore and Kansas City, then teams are just hitting their stride. Seattle, I think, is there too, and not just because of yesterday, Eric, but Seattle is definitely there too.
Listen, Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind. He's MVP absolutely right now, in my opinion, next to Aaron Rodgers.
Right. But for the Bucks, I will say this. For the Bucks. I love where they're at defensively. Like I said, competition-wise, they've had some teams that I feel that the Saints, I mean, were the ones that we're giving the issues, but it's the first game. So from that being said, though, yeah, I mean, they definitely are a very solid playoff contending team. But I go to your JV unit, like you said, when I rejoined, Jake. If the Niners are fully healthy, as much as I want to throw up in my mouth saying this, as Ruth and Eric can definitely attest to, there's nobody to me that can touch the Niners. Because the thing with the Packers is, we saw what Kamara did in spots. You can still run the ball down their throat. Yes. So I'm just saying, the Niners to me, unfortunately, are the best team in the NFC right now. Will it be close? If they don't get healthy? Yes, that's a different story. But fully healthy, everybody fully healthy, I don't see anybody beating the Niners.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Washington football team and the Cleveland Browns as they faced off in Week 3, and the Cleveland Browns pulled off a win, 34-20. But let's take a moment to congratulate the fact that we had 3 women involved in the NFL. We had Callie Bronson with the Browns, who is the chief of staff. We have Jennifer King, and then we have the ref, Sarah Thompson, that were all together in yesterday's game. Eric, I'm going to start with you first. What does this mean about women taking over the league right now?
I mean, for 101 years, we had never seen this. So this is something that needs to be behold and needs to be honored, because this is the first time. These women are pioneers who are going out and trend setting for future generations. And for so long, it's always been the boys' club. Well, now you have not only women, but just coaches and referees who are on the same level as their male counterparts. Now, we don't know what their pay is, and I don't even want to get into that. Before this moment, these three women need to be honored and respected and even recognized for not only their contribution to their individual teams and to the league, but just to the NFL as a whole.
Well, Eric, and the cool thing too that I learned about when you sent this out this morning, because when I saw it yesterday, when I saw the picture, I'm like, man, that's awesome. But both Brownson and King got their starts in college wise, both at Dartmouth, and they both at the college level. They both done different things there, coaching wise. And Brownson played. I mean, she played for the DC Divas of the women's football league for 7 years. And again, I bring it back, and everybody always thinks I was making fun of it, but I'm not, because it was a pioneering movie way back when. And if you haven't seen it, check Wildcats with Goldie Hawn. I mean, Wesley Snipes, Goldie Hawn. It was just, I know it's a comedy, but it's true. I mean, just because somebody loves a sport and they're not of that sex. I mean, I've always said, even since I was younger, how come it was always just acceptable for men to coach, let's just say women's basketball or any woman's sport. But if a woman was coaching a man's sport, it's well, she can't do it. She hasn't played it, especially in basketball. So it's like, I never understood that. So yeah, it was just awesome to see that yesterday. Absolutely awesome.
Jake, can I get your input?
It was refreshing to see, especially after the sickness that I saw with Jason Whitlock and Outkick the Coverage did last week, ripping on every single reporter, analyst, anchor possible in sportscasting. And it was actually good to see that this was actually carrying on into the NFL. You know, Alex Flanagan had such a great piece that was trying to pretty much combat what Jason Whitlock was saying about how beauty is all about. That's how they get the jobs in the business and all this kind of stuff. It is great to see that it is not about that. It is about your work ethic. And when you saw those three women, you know that they went through what a guy goes through here. If a man can do it, why can't a woman do it? And they proved it yesterday. You know, you got this amazing picture. You got it for the Washington football team. You have it for Cleveland, and then you have Sarah Thomas as a referee. Not to mention, the vice president of media and communication with the Washington football team is a woman, Julie Donaldson. And she has been in this business for almost 20 plus years. So this was an amazing thing to see. And it was a breath of fresh air after what I read last week.
Yes. And I will take a moment to honor these three women for, being the world's changing. It's 2020. It's a new evolution. So it's awesome and refreshing to see that these women are taking such a strong stand in a male-dominated league. So it's a beautiful thing to see. But something that wasn't so beautiful was, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Washington football team are first in the NFC East after the Eagles tied up against Joe Burrow and Cincinnati. Mike Caratanito, I'm gonna go to you first. Is Carson gonna get benched? What do they need to do to shape it up? I mean, they're practically 0-3.
Look, Carson Wentz, like I've defended for years, and Eric and I have had these fun discussions. I defended Tony Romo for years. He doesn't play defense. Carson Wentz doesn't play offensive line. He's getting his job done to play quarterback, which he has done when he's been healthy, I know, at a very, very high, solid level. I mean, the only lull he really had was the second half of his rookie season, and that's just because people started getting film. But again, he was still having a solid season. But again, if they bench him, again, Nick Foles is not there. But I don't see him getting benched. The offensive line, yes, needs to get healthy. No, you're not just going to pick up, offensive linemen on the street. They get that fixed, they can run the ball. And I mean, Eric knows this probably better than all of us, but I mean, if they get that fixed, they can run the ball. And we all know, except for Kellen Moore, we all know that if you run the ball, it is a best friend for a quarterback. And Carson Wentz can make every throw, can do anything on a field. I mean, the last rushing touchdown, he's trying to hit receivers. He's trying to do the right thing. And Eric, I almost text you saying, why is he waiting so long? Just take off. He almost got crushed again, and he takes off and he scores the tying touchdown. Now, if they bench him, yes, I mean, believe me, as an objective person, if they bench him, they're insane. As a Cowboys fan, Ruth, if they do bench him, I will jump up and down, spit out nickels, and do cartwheels for you on the next show that we do, because it would be an absolute joke. He doesn't play offensive line. Doug Peterson is a solid coach. They need to get it fixed. And I mean, I used the Aaron Donald thing last week. We saw what Aaron Donald can do. We were touching on it against Buffalo. Like, this dude, even with all pros in front of him, is going to make everybody look stupid. He is the best defensive lineman in the game, and I don't even think that's close. But the Eagles going forward, yes, they get healthier, and that offensive line that's there, if they can start gelling, then it'll be a different story. But, yeah, benching Carson Wentz is an absolute joke.
Yeah, that's a no-no. He was 29 for 47 with 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he took 3 sacks.
Jake, Ruth, real quick, Eric, I owe you and Ruth sandwiches, because unless each quarterback tonight, which would be a joke, I think each throws 9 interceptions, 15 interceptions each. It's not going over 90. I think it's at like 60.
I told you.
So yeah, Eric and Ruth took the under at 90.5 that Eric set. I took the over. So when I make it to Florida, your first sandwich is on me.
All right, fair enough.
Jake Ronghall, I want to know your take.
The Eagles are not going to bench Carson Wentz. It's not his fault that the way the team is right now. I mean, Jason Peters just got hurt once again. This is a guy that got a 1-year, $8 million contract just to move from guard to left tackle, and now they got that problem. The depth is such a problem right now at offensive line. And then I got a question for the secondary. Who wants to play secondary in the city of Philadelphia? Because Avonte Maddox is hurt now. And Darius Slay is a good corner, but he's not an elite corner. So I kind of feel like that's the problem. I understand you want to put some blame on Carson Wentz. That's fine. But you can also put it on the coach, and you have to put it on the general manager, Howie Roseman, because once again, he continues to show that he is not rebuilding this wide receiver core correctly or this offensive line. There's no depth with this offensive line, and that is a problem. If you have a bad offensive line in the National Football League, you can have the greatest quarterback in NFL history, or you can end up like Archie Manning, always on his butt every time he gets the football. Very good player, never had a good offensive line, and that is what is happening right now with Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. The confidence is just not there.
Yeah, and speaking of confidence, I am confident in my Dallas Cowboys, even though despite a Week 3 loss, despite a tough Week 3 loss in Seattle, Michael Cartenuto, are you?
Wait, hold on. How are you just going to gloss over me? You gonna talk about my team? And you gonna
feel about it already?
Do you really? Do you?
Eric, how do you feel?
I mean, I'd like to get at least 30 seconds if I could.
All right,
I mean,
30 seconds of airtime. Go ahead and let us.
All right. Look, I'll even put a timer on myself. So here you go. Here's my 30 seconds on the Eagles. You ready? Here we go. The problem right now is the fact that this team doesn't have their identity. They don't know who they are right now. It's going to depend on Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz sitting down in closed doors and saying, what can we do to fix this? Because this is not who we are. Being 0-2-1 is not who we are. And I'll end with this. Do you know the last quarterback to start the season 0-3 for the Philadelphia Eagles? Yeah, it's our head coach, Doug Peterson, back in 1999.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, wow.
I like that.
I don't think it's Eric. Real quick too. I don't think it's Carson Wentz has the confidence. He'll get it right. But that, like I said, that offensive line, it's tough, man. It struggles.
We will see how they face Sunday Night Football against San Francisco. Because I'll tell you this right now: if we go 0-3-1, I will come on this show very next week and say to y'all, guess what? My season is pretty much over, even with the extra playoff spot. Because I can just tell from the first 3 weeks. I already know in my head who's making it to the playoffs. I can rank them from 1 to 7 based on 3 weeks of productivity, at least for the NFC.
No, I think it's still way too soon. It's only Week 3. We're going into Week 4. The Dallas Cowboys lost in Seattle. So Michael Cartenuto, I want to know.
The only shining light in my day.
I knew that was coming. Yes. Do you hear that, Ruth? The only shining light in Eric's day. The only shining light in Eric's day. That's what he said. Oh, man.
But it's true. With you guys being in our division, anytime that we lose, I'm like, well, at least the Eagles lost. And then when you guys tied yesterday, I'm like, they tied against the Bengals. I'm not worried about them.
Exactly.
I will not say that because of no I'm with you, Ruth, to the point. I'm not saying it because Eric, I mean, I have a feel of playoff teams, but again, first month of the season is like preseason. Like I said, outside of the Ravens and the Chiefs, I'm not going to dedicate anybody to the playoffs. But I have a good idea, but I want to get in the middle of October. But for the Cowboys, Ruth, here's the thing. Many people have said it today, and I was saying it during the game as I was having to put pillows by me because I was starting to throw stuff. And no offensive line, I don't care if it's the phenomenal Cowboys line from the 90s or whatever, needs to be on skates for 57 plays. Stop throwing the ball 57 times. Yes, Dak had a decent game. We all know that Seattle secondary, according like Jake would say, the Seattle secondary is trash, and it's worse than the Eagles secondary. And they can't play man to save their life. My point is, give the ball to Zeke. 14 times is a joke. If it would have been 25 times, if they lost and he had the ball 25 times rushing, not catches, rushing, I would be okay with that. You can't be put on skates like that. They came back. They showed, to Eric's disappointment, Ruth, they showed they can play with anybody. But the problem is they're going to be on skates. And if the offensive line, look, you put Zach Martin, your all-pro guard, out at right tackle because you were getting killed at tackle last week, and you move him out there. Okay, so the rushing slows down from there. But then you don't give the ball to Zeke. Bounce the ball outside. Do something. Running the ball. You can't just be a one-dimensional team. I mean, the Chiefs aren't one-dimensional. The Ravens aren't one-dimensional. You can't be one-dimensional. I said it when they lost to the Rams. Sorry, I'll stop now, Eric. I'm going long, but it's frustrating. Like when you watch your team, it's frustrating because you have a top 3 running back in the league, and he only carries the ball 14 times. Pathetic.
Mike, you're the only person who can text me on Sundays and get away with it. Do you realize that? You are the only person. But I don't talk
trash to you. Oh, well,
no, but I'm just saying, you are the only person who can text me on Sundays during the game and I'll actually respond. But let me say this about your Dallas Cowboys, because I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you props. Look at the 3 teams that Dallas has played in the first 3 weeks. Okay. You've played the Rams opening night, Aaron Donald. Mm-hmm. You squeaked out a victory, which you should have had against the Atlanta Falcons, but a W is a W. And then you went into the 12 and played Russell Wilson, who's having an MVP season thus far. Mm-hmm. So for Dallas to be 1-2 playing those teams, to me, look at that as a victory, because think about it like this. Your schedule, the rest of the season, is a lot easier. And to me, that's going to be more truth-telling on how Dallas fares versus the 2 games that you've played, 2 out of the 3 games that you've played so far.
Yeah, and I will say this, just a little bit of stats to throw out there. Dak Prescott threw for almost 500 yards. He had 472 yards, 37 out of 57 completing, with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But I will not count that last interception as an interception. I mean, 6 seconds left on the clock. He put up the Hail Mary to try to win the game. So I really wouldn't consider that. Even though partially I feel like maybe he should have stepped out of bounds. He probably should have rolled out of bounds after avoiding the sack to stop the clock and maybe have more play to throw a Hail Mary. But, I mean, that's neither here or there. So, and he has become the second NFL quarterback to have back-to-back over 450-yard games. So, Jake Ronghal, I want to know your take on the Dallas Cowboys. Is Dak the future?
First off, I told you guys about Mike McCarthy. You got to be careful with that one-dimensional. He loves that air game, and he proved it once again. I mean, my goodness, 57 passes just to try and catch up with Russell Wilson. I mean, look at the numbers. The numbers are incredible, all right? And that's exactly what McCarthy did in Green Bay. 25 receptions, 396 yards, 3 touchdowns between Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, Amari Cooper, and CeeDee Lamb. How do you not win that game? Because your defense. How is Everson Griffin not getting any pass rush? Why is DeMarcus Lawrence, the $120 million man, not getting any coverage on this? What is going on here? I know Leighton Vander Esch is out. I know Sean Lee is out. But I am just blown away by this secondary. How is Tyler Lockett wide open off the left side of the end zone for one of Wilson's 5 touchdown passes? It doesn't matter. You could score 50 points in this game if you're giving up more. And that is exactly what happened. Not to mention Dak Prescott, while his numbers are impressive, He is making mistakes at the wrong time. Interception to Shaquille Griffin, taking a sack in a 2-minute drill when they had 1 timeout remaining, and then you're down to 6 seconds. The game is over. You have no chance of winning this game now, and then you throw it up a la Trent Dilfer into the end zone for your second interception. It's not just Dak Prescott that's the problem. It is the defense. It's the one-sidedness. I mean, look at this. 14 rushes, 34 yards for Ezekiel Elliott. He did nothing. He looked like he didn't want to come into the game until the third quarter when he actually made a big play. And when he got a first down, you didn't see him saying the Feed the Beast dance or the celebration. He just picked up the ball and walked back to the sideline. That's crazy to me.
But Ruth,
No, you're right.
that's because they were down, Jake. And look, I agree. Zeke should have done it. But Aldon Smith is the only one that you didn't mention that looks reborn and that's getting pressure. I just wanted to add that because he's the one that's all 3 games has been pushing guys back, has been getting into the backfield. You're right. Griffin needs to do more. And yes, DeMarcus Lawrence better start doing more. But I love the way Trayvon Diggs played. That punch, that had to give Eric nightmares from Deshaun Jackson.
It did.
You were reminded of that, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, I was. I was screaming at DK Metcalf the whole time. I'm like, what in God's name were you thinking? I don't care how good Russell Wilson lays one up for you. You finish the play. Finish the play.
Absolutely. Ruth, let me ask you this. How much do you want Jason Witten back right now?
I mean, a tiny bit. I mean, he is definitely missed for those last But I mean, that's just because he's in the poster board behind me, so we got to show.
No, not because of poster board. I'm just saying he's not playing that much in Las Vegas. It's a new system for him, fine. But Jarwin goes down, and again, it's not like he was going to be asking for Travis Kelce type money. I don't understand that. You lose another leader in the locker room. Yeah. Maybe you pull a game out like that yesterday if you're not going to give the ball to Zeke because now they have no tight end presence, and we all know. As Eric knows, the best teams have solid tight end presence.
Amen to that. Amen to that, brother.
So let's switch to Sunday Night Football. We had the Green Bay Packers facing off the New Orleans Saints. So Twitter and other social media platforms are blowing up about Drew Brees. Eric Wilson, I want to know, with the performance of last night, do you believe that Drew Brees is out after this season?
I think that depends on where the team finishes. I expect them to make the playoffs. I expect them to make the divisional round of the playoffs, even with this new 7-team system that they've got. If the New Orleans Saints find a way to make it back to the NFC Championship game and they don't get screwed, I am going to be very, very interested to see if Drew Brees continues on, knowing that might be his final gust. If he can make it back, if he makes it to the Super Bowl, let's put it like that, win or lose, I would say I think he's done. Because I think at that point, the way the game is evolving, I'm not sure if Drew Brees, I don't know if he has enough in the tank. He may think that physically he may have it, or mentally he's got the guts to do it. He can still sling like nobody's business. However, we know that this game is becoming more of a younger man's game. And I just think Drew Brees, his time is almost up with that. So even though his performance last night was true Drew Brees, something that Stephen A. Smith said that it made me, as he would say, cause to pause was New Orleans without their fans is just the same as New Orleans on the road. Without their fans in that stadium, there's a different aura, a different mystique that's in there. Now, granted, family and close personal friends, they allowed 750 people into the Mercedes-Benz Superdome last night, but that still wasn't enough for Drew Brees. Now, say what you want about Michael Thomas. I just think there needs to be more of a trust issue between Drew Brees and Emmanuel Sanders because Kamara is going to be Kamara. But the tight end that they brought in, and forgive me, his name eludes me. I want to say Hollister, but that's not it. Huckensberg, I apologize. You saw flashes of this team gelling. And then, listen, Taysom Hill having that fumble, that was a turning point. Shout out to our man, Jake, because that's what it was. That was the turning point in the game.
Oh, yeah.
This was a shootout up until that point. After that, Aaron Rodgers did what he did, even with no Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones, God love that man in fantasy because he can damn sure get you some points. But I think if Drew Brees doesn't make it, he's going to try and come back one more year. If he gets to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, I think he's done after that.
So Brees was 29 for 36, 288 passing yards with 3 touchdowns, and people are trying to say that his arm wasn't looking the same. So Jake, I want to know your take on Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints.
I know Chris Sims brought this up today on Pro Football Talk that, Drew Brees did not throw a ball over 20 yards all night. I get that. Alvin Kamara was the reason why they were in this game, but Drew Brees was still slinging it. He still felt like him. He needs Michael Thomas. That's his number one guy. And when you don't have that number one guy and your Deontay Harris is not helping you out, Traquan Smith is not helping you out, you let Ted Ginn Jr. go to the Chicago Bears, Drew Brees is out of options outside of Alvin Kamara. Kamara almost single-handedly beat the Green Bay Packers yesterday. If it wasn't for that fumble by Taysom Hill, we would not be talking about that. We would be talking about Drew Brees being back. Drew Brees is still an amazing quarterback. When you have the numbers that he did yesterday and was still able to keep the team in it, remind yourself, they scored 30 points. How many points did the Packers score? 37. The biggest problem with the Saints continues to be that undisciplined defense that showed up last year and showed up again this year. 8 penalties, 69 yards, back-to-back pass interference calls. You get psyched on 2 hard counts by Aaron Rodgers. On the second one, not to mention, you got neutral zone infraction, then you got a 15-yard pass interference call, and you just gave the Packers the game just like that. It's not Drew Brees that's the problem. He needs Michael Thomas back. Once they get him back, he'll be fine. It's that defense that I feel like is not going to get the Saints to the Super Bowl.
All right, and welcoming to the show, Alex Fleming, the NFL contributor and the master of the NFL Carousel. How you doing this evening?
Stuck at work, but I got a free minute or two. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for joining us. So we were talking about Sunday Night Football, the Green Bay Packers against the New Orleans Saints. I want to know your take on Drew Brees. Do you think this could be possibly his final year?
It is his final year. Tell me how Drew Brees is just 2 years younger than Tom Brady and looks 10 years older. Number 2, noodle arm. Up until this week, where he actually had a pass more than 30 damn yards, he went almost a whole season not throwing for more than 35 yards air-wise. Number 2, you notice that the only turnover that cost the game was when they took Drew Brees out and put in Taysom Hill? Jameis Winston alert. Taysom Hill is not the future of this football team. He is not the quarterback of the future of this football team. And number 3, last but not least, Drew got outdueled by Mr. AR. Now, Aaron's in a zone, all right? Aaron's doing his thing. So let's leave Aaron Rodgers alone out of this. Drew was getting bailed out by Alvin Kamara. That 52-yard touchdown, that was more Kamara than it was Drew Brees, even though Drew did get credit for it. And as far as I'm concerned, Drew Brees stayed a little bit too long. It's time for Drew to go, figuratively and literally.
He has a job waiting for him in NBC Sports as soon as he retires.
And you did mention Aaron Rodgers. So, Jake, I'm going to let you take the reins on this. How do you think Aaron Rodgers is reacting and how he's playing in the first 3 weeks? And does it have anything to do with maybe having a second-string quarterback kind of nagging at his heels?
That's one of the things, but that's not the main fact. The main fact is what Chris Collinsworth brought up yesterday on Sunday Night Football. Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers found a way to build their relationship, even regardless of this draft pick of Jordan Love. Understand, Aaron Rodgers knows what it's like to be the young gun waiting for the old gun to retire with Brett Favre. Now, Aaron Rodgers is playing the same role as that young gun Jordan Love is waiting for his shot. It's not that at all. He needs to build that relationship with Matt LaFleur, and that's exactly what he did. They had meetings where they were taking out plays that did not work last year, and they decided to create new plays. Under the second year, under Matt LaFleur, there's a lot of trust between that coach and quarterback relationship. Not to mention, I love it how all the echo chambers were closed today because the Packers had a second receiver out there named Alan Lazard that comes out of nowhere and makes himself a household name on national television. And once again, I just got to say it. The only reason that the Packers cannot get to the Super Bowl is that flipping, bend, and break deep. That Alvin Kamara thing, I almost lost my mind. I don't know why Jair Alexander is trying to do an impression of Chuck Bednarik's shoulder shiver, but that was one of the worst things I ever saw out of a defense with the Packers, and that's going to be the big flaw there. Even though Aaron Rodgers is stellar, the wide receivers are good. Aaron Jones, love this offense. That defense got a lot of work.
Michael Caratenuto, jump in on this. How do you feel about Green Bay right now?
Oh, I mean, I'm with Jake. Offensively, they're solid. I mean, I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a good young receiver too. I mean, yeah, when Adams is on the field, it is different. Aaron Jones, again, the running back that Mike McCarthy obviously never really had when he was there. But yeah, I mean, the way they're playing offensively, like I said, they can go toe to toe with anybody. But the problem is, everybody's going to figure out, well, okay, if we have a big running back, we're just going to do what the Niners did last year in the playoffs. We're going to run the ball. Who cares if our quarterback doesn't throw it in the second half? Because you do that, and Aaron Rodgers sits on the sidelines. So, I mean, there's not really much they can do. I agree with you, Eric. I think real quick on Drew Brees, though, if they get to an NFC championship, or just say they were to get to the Super Bowl, I think he might be done. If they win it, I think he might be almost tempted to come back, though. But, I mean,
go out on top, man. Go out on top.
Exactly.
I'm so tired of guys thinking they still got enough in the tank. If you win and you're at the position that he's in, man, go out on top. Alice, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time. I have to get back to work, but let's stop kidding ourselves. All right, as football fans, we're delusional. We like to think that Philadelphia is better than they actually are. We always want to think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl, and they know they're not. And Drew Brees is past his prime, like past with a couple of Ds, past his prime. Jabu has been looking great in practice. Jabu has the arm strength. There's a reason why Sean Payton grabbed the 5-year quarterback out of FSU, because he knows Drew Brees' time is running out. Look for them to replace Drew if he's ineffective or they keep losing around week 6 or week 7. And I did not stutter.
All right.
Thank you, Alex, for your intake, and you enjoy the rest of your night at work. So the Green Bay Packers are going to be facing the Atlanta Falcons in week 4.
That's an L. Definitely, that's a W. That's a W right there for Green Bay.
Yeah, the Falcons have just been
only if the Falcons, Eric, only if the Falcons get up by 20 is it a W for Green Bay.
Wait, hold on. Where's the game being played at? Is it played in Atlanta or played in Green Bay?
At Green Bay.
Okay, it's a W. Can we move on, please?
Right.
I'm not even.
Then they're going to be taking a bye week for week 5, and then they're going to be facing Tom Brady and the Bucks in week 6. So, Eric Wilson, I want to know your take. It's going to be Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, head-to-head. Who's coming out on top?
Coming off of a bye week, I'd have to see what Aaron Rodgers' record is, because I think that's going to be the telltale sign for me. But the fact that this team's going to be 4-0 going into their bye week, I mean, people are going to say, oh, Atlanta's a trap game because of what Atlanta has done the past 2 weeks. But I still say Green Bay's going to get it done because it's in Lambeau. Now, it's Lambeau in September. It's not Lambeau in December. Two different places. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, who's going to come out on top? Brady, Rodgers. Brady has weapons. If Devontae Adams is back, I would love to see a shootout in this game, and I think it would come down to a field goal. Right now, I'm going to give the edge slightly to Tom Brady because I feel like if he has all his weapons, he's going to be the man who outshines. And if him and Gronk finally do connect, which I think they're going to, it's going to be something to behold. Right now, feet to the fire, I'll take Brady in the Bucks.
Michael Caratenuto, week 6, Green Bay Packers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who you got, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Jake, I got your boy. I got Aaron Rodgers. Because of Aaron Jones. Again, how do you keep other quarterbacks off the field? Aaron Jones is going to see, especially coming off a bye, like you said, Eric, he's going to see more. He's going to see more carries. If it starts, I think the first half could be a shootout. I'm with you on that, Eric. But I'm also, if the Packers realize that, Aaron Jones is going to carry the load in the second half. I think Adams should be back by then. So I'm going, like you say, feet to the fire. I'm going with it. It'll be a solid game. I just think that.
Mike, just remember this one thing. Just remember this one thing. I believe Tampa is like in the top 3 when it comes to run defense. So I pray for Aaron Jones' safety. But
okay, but I'm just saying
Todd Bowles has
I
this
love Todd
defense
Bowles.
locked
Love Todd
and ready to go.
Right,
I just
right.
wanted to say that.
I agree, but you can't let, again, if Aaron Rodgers throws it 57 times, not that he can't handle it, Jake, but if he throws it 57 times like Dak did yesterday, then you're just playing into the arms of the Bucks. They're gonna, I mean, Aaron Jones will do some things to get him going. It'll be a hell of a game though, but I'll give a slight advantage to Rodgers.
Say it's going to be a hell of a matchup. Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady. I'm excited for Week 5 of the NFL. I'm sorry, that was going to be Week 6. Does anybody know if Tom Brady is playing at home against Green Bay, or are we going to Green Bay?
They are at Tampa Bay.
Oh,
Yeah,
was that Raymond
you
James?
guys get to come down to the heat.
We're going to RJ Stadium. Yep.
Speaking of future matchups, we got Monday Night Football coming up in about 20 minutes now. So we're going to be wrapping up the show shortly so everybody can watch this matchup because we have two MVPs going head to head. We have Lamar Jackson at 23 years old with the Baltimore Ravens. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, my Mahomie, at 20 years old. Two of the most impressive NFL quarterbacks I think anybody has ever seen. So we got the defending Super Bowl champions going against the team that won 14 straight in the NFL season. Eric Wilson, who you got for tonight's Monday night matchup?
Oh, I was hoping you'd go to me last, but wow. Listen, when you've got the Lord and Savior, future Hall of Famer Patrick LaVon Mahomes II making the most highest paid individual in the NFL at such a young age, it is very hard to go against the champs. But if there is one team that I can say to you will give them a fight from beginning to end, the full 60 minutes, big trust. Whoop, whoop. Not bad for a running back. L Freaky Jackson 5, whatever you want to call him. Lamar Jackson, boy.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to go with the Ravens solely on this one fact. I think the Ravens defense is better than the Chiefs defense. And I love Andy Reid. Y'all know I got a special place in my heart for that big boy. Mm-hmm. But he finally got what he has earned so much but tonight I got to go with the Ravens.
All right. So this might be an NFL preview of the AFC title matchup with tonight's game. Michael Cartenuto, who do you got? Lamar Jackson or Kansas City?
I love Patrick Mahomes. I love Tyrann Mathieu. The time he spent here, obviously, in Arizona. He was the missing cog, as we know, to the Chiefs defense, what they need, especially the second half of last year. But man, Ruth, I've been hanging around with Eric too long. See, now we're starting to agree. I'm with Eric. It's in Baltimore tonight. I love that. I love the Ravens defense. I've always loved the way the Ravens have played defense. It'll be a heck of a game. And I want to stop this too, because again, I think everybody jumps to conclusions too quick to judge a quarterback, especially a quarterback, but any player. But I really don't want to hear that Lamar Jackson. This needs to be stopped, and I'm on the campaign trail to stop this. I don't want to hear he's just a good regular season quarterback. Yes, they lost in the playoffs his rookie year. He was a rookie. Okay, last year probably shouldn't have lost to Tennessee, but I mean Tennessee was beating the crap out of Kansas City physically, with Derrick Henry for a little bit. So, I'm going with the Ravens. Again, defensively, I love what they do. And the fact that they got my boy, too, that the Cardinals never should have let go, because you saw him ball out in your state, in Florida, at Jacksonville, Calais Campbell. And he's just, as the season goes on, what he's going to do for that locker room and even more for a defense that's already stellar, is just sick. So tonight, I'm going with the Ravens.
All right, Jake, I want to know your take real quick before we switch over to the NBA bubble. Who do you have, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes?
I got Lamar Jackson because breaking news just came in. Andrew Wiley out tonight. He is having surgery on his appendix, actually. So they are now without their two best guards, and that is going to be an issue for Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson just has way too much weaponry. And, they have J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and They're going to be having the likes of Mark Ingram, who's going to be working on his roundhouse kicks a couple more times as he scores tonight. They got very good wide receivers. Top tight end in the NFL, Mark Andrews, did a great job in the draft with Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison to help out Matthew Judon. I'm going with the Ravens. They're at Baltimore. This is an AFC Championship preview. Strap yourself in. It's going to be a fun one, but the Ravens are going to win by a touchdown.
Oh, Monday Night Football. Everybody's got to love it. So we got Eric Wilson, the producer of the Sports Arena, Root the Truth. Make sure to follow me on Twitter. We got Michael Caratanino with Believe in the Pac-12, Jake Ronghall with Turning Point Podcast. We are going to finish it up with the NFL, and we're going to switch things over to the NBA bubble. So we have the Boston Celtics having their bubble burst in Game 6 against the Miami Heat. And Miami Heat are going to be matching up with the LA Lakers for the NBA Finals. Michael Caratanino, I'm going to bring it to you first. How are you shocked at all that Miami was able to pull this one out?
A little. I'm not going to say shocked because, I mean, yes, I was high on the Celtics, as was Eric. I was actually the highest team I was highest on was the Raptors. That being said, I mean, I guess a teeny bit shocked because I literally thought the Celtics matched up with them really well. But Miami just hit them first, hit them hard. And again, Jake was all on Miami from the beginning when I was taking Toronto. So I will just say I'm a wee bit shocked, but with the talent that Miami has and Jimmy Butler on a mission, I'm not shocked. And man, hats off to them. They look phenomenal.
Yeah. Eric Spoelstra is going to be facing LeBron James in the NBA Finals. Eric Wilson, let me know. What is your take? I know that you were expecting a Boston Celtics and, Lakers final, which is something that we probably all wanted to see, but it's going to be the Miami Heat against the Lakers. So I want to know your take. Is AD and LeBron going to pull this one through against Jimmy Buckets?
It's very difficult to not throw in Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and the rest of that squad with Miami because Jimmy is leading that team to the promised land. Now all they got to do is beat the top guy in the league. To be the man, you got to beat the man. Listen, you're right. I said Boston because I had never seen Boston at full strength. The fact that Miami was able to take them 6 games, I was like, okay, fine. But now we've got a great matchup. I'm excited to see this. Hats off to Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat. But again, you've got Pat Riley in there, a man who just knows basketball. He knows how to bring a championship to wherever he goes. He should have had a couple with the Knicks. We're not going to get into that. That still breaks my heart. I am just happy that we are coming to a conclusion on this because I feel like this is something that this season was in such turmoil that we did not know. I'm happy that we're here. With that being said, I said Lakers and Celtics. So Lakers got in. I'm rolling with the Lakers. I'm saying Lakers in 6. But Jimmy Butler is going to give LeBron everything that he's got and then some. So we are truly going to see Kobe better be on LeBron's shoulders because he's going to need it to get to Jimmy because Jimmy's coming with everything he got.
And we're going to take it over to Jake. I want to know your take on the Miami Heat matchup against the Los Angeles Lakers.
The best team that played like a team was the Miami Heat. And that's why I took them as my dark horse this year because it doesn't matter who gets the basketball at the end of the day. Look at what happened with the Celtics. They had Jason Tatum out there for 44 minutes, Jaylen Brown 40 minutes, and all they could do is get 24 points and 20 points. That's not going to help you win games. Their bench work was not very good with 23 points. You can't run your starters into the ground. The Miami Heat do not do that. They average between 28 to 32 minutes a game. Guaranteed because they have trust in Andre Iguodala and Tyler Hero, who had 34 points combined off the bench in that Game 6. A terrific performance. Bam Adebayo, nicely done with 32 points, but keep this in mind. It's either going to be Lakers at 5 or Heat in 7 because I can't wait for the fourth quarter because that's when Jimmy Buckets comes to life. And if the Lakers cannot stop Jimmy Butler or if the Heat have like a 10-point lead and the Lakers have to play catch-up, it's going to be a problem because after the Celtics took a 100-98 lead, the Heat outscored them 16-2. This is going to be a great finals. I can't wait to watch.
Yeah,
Jake,
I mean,
you
it
just
was
changed my mind for me.
It was a little disappointing because I feel like the Boston Celtics were really truly gassed out in that fourth quarter, letting it go to 16-2. And We all know that LeBron James knows how to turn up the heat in the fourth quarter by closing out the Denver Nuggets game, scoring 13 points in like 11 minutes, something crazy like that. So go ahead, Michael Caratanuno. I want to know your take.
No, I was going to say, Jake, you actually, I was going with the Heat to win it, but you changed my mind. I say the Heat win it in 6. And this is why. To Eric's point, you said Pat Riley. Now he's not gonna micromanage or step on Eric Spoelstra. He handpicked him. He saw the kind of leader Spoelstra could be. Again, it's like Phil Jackson. People saying, "Oh, he had all these great teams." You still have to coach egos, and Eric Spoelstra did it at that level. And again, this team different than the teams with the D Wade and LeBron and Chris Bosh. That being said, I'm with you the way Jimmy Butler's played, Jake. So I say Heat in 6 because Bam Adebayo athletically will be all over. Will be yes, Bam, Bam, Bam.
Bam.
Will be all over Anthony Davis. He can hang with him on the perimeter, and we know he can block shots at a nasty clip too. That was the best block shot in playoff history that I have ever seen, and I've seen it a lot. So I'm going with Jake's Heat in 6, and Jimmy Buckets gets his title because he will dominate in the fourth quarter because he's not a middle midget. That's all I'm saying, Eric. You and Jake changed my mind for me.
Michael Caratanuno is saying Heat in Game 6. I'm going to say Lakers in 7. I'm definitely going to say it's going to go to a Game 7. I think that's super respectable. We got to give Eric Spoelstra a little bit of credit. I learned something new about him, that he actually started as an ESPN video editor for the Miami Heat, and he has become a NBA coach and one of the most respected NBA coaches. We lost Jake because Jake's battery died, but yes, that was Drake Wrong Hall from Turning Point Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Jake. And we're gonna say goodbye because this has been fun. We've gone for a little over an hour. You guys have made this super enjoyable, but I'm gonna go grab my popcorn as I watch these MVPs battle it out for Monday Night Football. My name is Ruth Kias. We got Eric Wilson and Michael Caratanuno with Believe in the Pac-12. Thank you so much for joining us, and you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday night.